Hey, welcome to No Strings Attached Street Ministry. Today we're going to talk about living the van life hacks. A lot of people's asked me over the years, Jim, is van life hard? I've seen a lot of videos. I've even made some videos about van life sucks and, just does it? Yeah, it can if you don't do it right. But it also can be a life-changing experience as well. So before you give up, you might want to try some of these hacks. It makes it a lot easier. Let's take, for instance, who out there likes to do dishes? Not me. That's the worst thing in the world, even when you're in van life. But the thing is about van life, people have the little sinks in the back, and you see them doing their dishes, once a day. And a few things about problem with that. Number one, you burn through water like crazy, which water in van life is very, very, very precious, especially if you're going to be out and about for a extended period of time, 1 to 2 weeks. You figure one person will use, on the average, 10 gallons a week. Usually, that's considered your drinking water, your cleaning water, and so on and so forth. Especially if you have a little dog or whatever, a cat, they need water as well. Like I said, water is very, very tough to do without. It's definitely a priority. And if you're going to go out and about, especially out in remote areas like out in the desert, things like that, you always want to make sure you have enough, just in case something happens, that you can stay there or extend yourself there for a while, or have enough to at least walk back. So, like I said, water is something that's on pretty much every van life's person's mind, or it soon is. I mean, you become able to consider things a lot more once you're out there and things start to happen, and you're like, oh crap, now what? But few things that I found to be a lot easier. Number one, get you one of those 5-gallon round jugs, that you get from, like Zephyr Hills, spring water or whatever, They use them in the big coolers, they flip them over and they drink right out of the coolers. Pick up one of those. They have on the internet, they have different heads, either manual or even battery operated ones, or even now the one that I use is the it's USB powered. You charge it by your USB, and there's a little hose that goes down, drops down into the tank, to the bottom of the tank, and you push a button to turn it on and off, and it pumps the water back out, so you can drink it. Very inexpensive, and I can go through probably around 20 to 30 gallons of water before I have to actually charge that battery. So I'm talking 4, 5, 6, maybe even 10 times of refilling that bottle before I actually have to go and get a new one, or recharge it. So it's something to really how to consider. But let's see, a couple other little hacks. So the water is your biggest thing. So what you want to do with that is to make sure that you conserve. Don't scrimp though. If you need to stay hydrated yourself, so make sure that your drinking water is something that you do quite often, especially if you're living in the van. You gotta realize it's hot out there a lot of times. Anytime you're out in the heat, inside the van in the heat, you dehydrate quickly. So that's something that you really need to keep an eye on, is to make sure that you're hydrated properly. A few other ways to conserve water is to consider how you use it. A lot of people, They go washing dishes like we were talking about before, about the little dishwashing. Well, them guys, they'll go through 20, 30, 40, 50 gallons a week, just trying to wash a few cups and things and a few dishes 2 or 3 times a day. It's just not worth it. The way that I do it, I cook everything in my cast iron skillets. And then I have one pot that I use if I need a pot, to make like whatever, like mac and cheese or whatever, you'd use a pot for. Then soups, that kind of stuff. The biggest thing is why get things dirty? If you're going to use it and it's a liquid, especially out of a pot, it's just you using 90% of the time. It don't work that well if you're married or if you got a partner out there on the road, but I'm talking just for single people, is that you eat right out of the pot. Why dirty up a dish, Grab your spoon and go for it. Use the handle, hold it with a handle, or set it down on a hot plate, or a coaster, and keep it off the surfaces so you don't burn something. But yeah, eat it right out of there. I prepare my breakfast out of the skillet. First thing I do is I put my potatoes on. I'll shred the potatoes, cut the potatoes, whatever. I'll make some, add a little oil to those, and I'll start those on first in my skillet. By the time I get those done, at that time I start pulling out my bacon or my sausage, whatever I'm going to have that evening or that morning. And by the time I get that out and put it in the skillet, it's already going. Let that cook for a bit till the bacon's almost done. By the time I flip it over, flip it for the first time, just flipping it over. I cook things that pretty much till they're done on one side though. So the second time around, I usually don't have to flip it more than once. But I'll flip the bacon over to cook the other side. That time I'll stir the potatoes, make sure they're not getting burnt on the bottom, and they get crispy all throughout. You can season those with a little bit of paprika, onion powder, a little bit of garlic powder, some kind of a hot. I use red pepper powder. A lot of people use cayenne. I don't like cayenne. I think I'm sort of allergic to cayenne for some reason, but it reacts with me, so I use the red pepper instead. It's probably I don't think it's the same thing because it doesn't react with me on that. But sometimes I'll even put a little chili powder in it. So, or like Tony's Southwestern seasoning, things like that. Add a little bit of seasoning to your potatoes. But anyway, you go on and by the time you get ready to flip over your bacon, you flip your bacon over, and then I crack my eggs out. And I'll crack my eggs. I'll keep pushing everything to the side, and I'll crack my eggs. And then I'll cook my 2 eggs sunny side up. Then right before they're all almost done, I just turn the gas off, go to the picnic table. It's still cooking in the pan, so I'll go to the picnic table and I'll set my coaster down, and I'll salt and pepper, or season whatever I'm going to have. Chop up my eggs and eat my meal right out of the skillet. When I get done, just wipe it off with a paper towel. Oil it right down. Season, if it's stuck, then you use rock salt and your paper towel, and you can scrub anything that's stuck to it. You can break it off, but then you always oil it, and you always restore it with the oil. Just to keep that pan clean and safe. About once a week, I'll actually run water through it. I'll just pour a little bit of water in there and a couple drops of Dawn liquid soap, and I'll wash it out again with paper towels and clean it. And then I always, when I use the water though, I always reheat the pan, and I get that pan scalding hot, and then I'll reseason after that. But that's just maintenance on taking care of cast iron. But you can find plenty of those online. But that's a hack. That's what I use as a hack. If I do use a plate, well, you know how they always say if something goes in your van, always make sure you use it 2 or 3 different ways. If not, it don't deserve a spot inside your van. That's how precious space is. So if you can't double use it, triple use it, or repurpose it, it's not worth having. Because you can find something that will do the same job that you can also use as something else. So what I do, it's my game. This is a cheap little old Frisbee. And my family has used these for years and years and years. Raising kids, trust me, especially when 2 parents work, best idea you ever had. Number one, you can go out and you can play with it, with the kids, or even with the dog. Dogs love Frisbees. But you use Frisbees, and then when you call for dinner, hey, grab your plate, come on, it's time for dinner. Well, this is your plate. Instead of making it this your plate, paper plates fit perfectly inside the Frisbees. It strengthens the cheap little paper plates. It strengthens. You can do whatever you have to do on it, cut on it, whatever you have to do on it, and eat it. And then all you have to do is pull that off, wipe out your paper, wipe out your Frisbee when you get done, and usually you're just fine. Of course, you can't eat soups and things like that on it, but I mean, most of your food you can eat on the paper plates. So yeah, I can even eat pork and beans and mac and cheese, things like that. You can actually eat on the paper plates. And if it really bothers you that it might leak through a little bit once in a while, you can always get those paper plates that have like the wax coating on the top. They're a little bit more expensive, or the Cornell, I think they call them, more like a styrofoam type or a real thick cardboard thing. Those could work, but these here, you could buy 500 for like $2. Well, 500, that's a year's supply, man, for a single guy. And guess what? No washing your plates. No doing no dishes. You take a squirt bottle with a little bit of peroxide in it, or rubbing alcohol, spritz down your surface like in this. If it does get dirty, just spritz it down, wipe it out with good clean paper towel. And this is not trash. Don't use this as trash. Don't throw it away. It's wasteful. Double purpose it. Start a fire. Well, when you start a fire, keep it in a trash bag, and when you start your fire, use it as fire starter. It does a great job. Yes, don't throw things in there that are toxic, If it's just paper products, nothing wrong with it. I don't see anything wrong with that. Use it at the bottom of your fire. That way it doesn't ignite and float up. It burns inside the fire pit. Of course, that's using fire safety. You always have to use your fire safety. Same as lighting your fires. Every van should have one of these. It's a grill lighter. That's what it is. Well, your grill lighter, you can light cigars. You can, I use it to light my rocket stove. I use it to light my gas grill. I use it to light any kind of fire pits that I use out there. So it's something that's used quite often. Actually, I've got usually 3 on the van at one time. Also, I use a little propane torch. It's a soldering torch. And I found that to get any fire basically going, that's the best way. I don't care if it's raining or whatever, you can get it going with that. You light the torch, you sit there and smoke it down and get it going. And then people say, oh, that's cheating. Well, I'm not here to be a Boy Scout and teach you how to do that. I want to do things simple and easy way. And this is usually a good way to get it going. especially if you got good dry kindling and things, and it's a good warm day, and you know you can get a fire going. Use that there because it keeps you back up away from it, so you don't get burnt. Another thing is you know how you go out to a restaurant? Everybody goes out to eat. I don't care who you are. I don't care how poor you are, how rich you are. You always go out to eat. Or you're going into the grocery stores, and every grocery store has it. You know, you go over to the meat counter. They either make subs, or they have warm food or hot food sitting out, whatever. Any restaurant anywhere has condiments. When you go to a restaurant, make sure you grab a few extra condiments of all sorts. Keep them in a small bag and keep them in your refrigerator. That way it stays cool. Remember, you're in the heat of the van. Yes, most of them don't need to be refrigerated. They don't ask to be refrigerated. Even the mayonnaise packs don't need to be refrigerated. But the way I look at it, I'm inside of a hot van. And in Florida, this van gets pretty darn hot in the daytime. So I don't want that stuff to actually go bad. I don't know if it can go bad, but I'm not going to take a chance on it. Especially something that I don't know if, you know, I'm opening up fresh, and I'm not going to taste test every single little bag, you know, of ketchup or every little bag of mayonnaise. So I keep that just in a little small little bag, and I'll keep it, you know, inside there. Now the salt and peppers, things like that, I don't. But any of those dipping sauces, you know, like you go to McDonald's, you get chicken nuggets, and they, you know, it's barbecue or whatever, we'll get a couple extra. Nothing wrong with that. They'll give it to you. It's free. They, you know, they have no problem with that. If you don't believe me, ask them. Say, hey, can I get a couple extra of these? Sure, no problem. They'll be more than happy to help you out. Another thing you go by, anytime that's offered, like I use Five Guys a lot. That's my favorite restaurant for burgers. But at Five Guys, they have these. Real good, sturdy plastic forks and spoons and knives. I keep probably at least a dozen of each one on truck at all times. Anytime that I'm in there, I'll pick one or two up and I'll stick it in my little spot where I keep them. But do I use them all the time? No. I do have a regular fork, knife, and a spoon. If you're a van life guy, why are you having 20 knives and 20 forks and 20 spoons? You don't need that. If there's two people in the van, you need 2 knives, 2 forks, 2 spoons, 2 soup spoons, 2 coffee cups, and 2 drinking cups. Choose the best that suits you the best. If you like drinking your coffee out of the little China cups, okay, well, you're going to probably break them, you know, especially in a van. But if you do like that, by all means, go for it. I have 2 of these cups. This is the best thing I've ever seen. These are the Yetis, you know, the metal Yetis. And comes with a straw. Get 2 of them. I got one's a little bit smaller than that one, and the bigger one. The bigger one I use for my drink cup. It is always full of something. Now I drink water, quite a bit of water. I also drink those new flavored waters that you can get at Walmart, and they're like waters, but they're like almost like sodas, you know, but they're waters. They've got the bubbly water in it and everything, and you pop those open. I use about 1 can. I can break it up to 4 different full cups of this. I'll put about a quarter of a can in one. In the bottom, I fill it plumb full of ice, as heavy and ice as I can pack in it, and then I fill it full of water, and that stays cold. And believe it or not, if I didn't drink that and I just sat there with that cup there, that cup will hold ice till the very next morning. I can make it this morning, and if I forget and whatever, by the time I come back to it, 7, 8 o'clock the next morning, there's still ice in it. It's still ice cold. Well, why not? Where else can you get that? Jim says, well, I can't get ice. Yes, you can. If you go by McDonald's, you go by 7-Eleven, whatever, say, hey, can I have a cup of ice? Sure. Nobody will deny you. I've never, ever been denied a cup of water or a cup of ice from anybody. Some people say that they charge. I've never been charged. Of course, I really don't give them the opportunity to charge me, I think, because usually I forget about it and I won't order it. I'll just, right at the very last, after they've given me my food, I say, oh, can I get a nice cup of ice? And the girl usually just gets me a cup of ice, and I'm good. Is that wrong or right? I don't know. It's just more my mindless thinking. I always wait to the very last minute before I ask for it. If they would ask me, charge me a quarter or whatever it is, sure, no problem. I don't mind paying that. I'd be more than happy to pay that. But the thing that you look for is, I keep this one with cold water or whatever, and mostly it's water anyway, so I usually don't even have to wash it. You just dump it out, refill it, whatever. I usually just use the same ice and keep putting the same thing right on top of it and drink that whole thing all day. I'll fill it up 4 or 5 times a day with the same drink. And then at the end of the day, if I'm going into Walmart or going into a restroom somewhere, Planet Fitness, whatever, I'll take my cup with me and I'll wash it there. And I'll wash the lid, I'll wash the straw, I'll scrub the outside and the inside of the cup, and I'll get it clean. But I have access to water at that point, so then I can use that. But in the van, no, I don't have that. Coffee cup. Now, if you drink with cream and sugar and all the other stuff, and you're the kind of person that leaves it set, yeah, well, you'll probably have to end up washing that cup quite often. But if you're just a black coffee cup drinker, remember patina. If you're drinking black coffee, it's just like a coffee pot. You never wash your coffee pot. It's the better. The more coffee that's brewed through that coffee pot, the better the taste. Trust me, it really is. So, you rinse it. You don't leave something set in there all the time. But, if you use it, let the patina build up. It's almost like a cast iron skillet, and that's what gets the non-stick surfaces, the patina of all the cooking that you do in there gives it that, and how you prepare it. So, you do it that way as your coffee cup. If it's just the coffee cup and it's all black, no sugar, no cream, don't even have to wash that neither. Just dump it out so it's not sitting in there. And if you want to, you can take a regular bottle of water and put about that much in there and swirl it around, swish it around, throw it out, and you're clean. And then do the same thing. Take it with you and wash it when you get a chance. But if you're out and about doing things, you don't have to waste your water doing that. Other ways to save water. Well, not have a flushable toilet or use water to use the toilet or the sink. I don't believe in that. If you're going to brush your teeth, well, you take a swig of water, and you take your toothbrush, and you hold your mouth back so your water don't go away, and you put your tooth in, and you just scrub it with the water and your toothbrush, and you clean your teeth. When you get done, you spit it out. Take another swig of water, rinse your mouth, spit it out, and you're done. It's very simple. You don't have to have running water all the time. It's just like when you shave. You don't have to shave. I shave dry. I've shaved dry my whole life. So, yes, I do have shaving cream and things, but actually, if I use shaving cream, it causes me to break out. That's why I dry shave. And that's one reason why I don't even shave all the time. I don't shave every day. I might clean it up, maybe once a week, I'll brush it up. Sometimes I'll get a kick in it, and I'll do it, every other day, every day. But I can't have a clean shaven. I guess I'm the scruffy type of guy. But that's just the way I am. But yeah. If I do have it, I carry my shaving cream in my razor and my razors, the blades. I put it all in one of them little plastic containers that have the snap down side lids, all four sides, waterproof lids. Well, I'll take the lid off of that, put a little bit of water in there, and I'll heat that water up scalding hot, and I'll pour it back in there, and I'll keep maybe about this much in the bottom, and I'll just wish my razor inside that water and clean my razor that way, and I'll shave. And then when you get done, you just wipe your face down and maybe take a little bit of wet cloth. I use the baby wipes, and you can wipe your face down with that. Baby wipes are your best friend, trust me. Never ever get away from using your baby wipes. They're fresh. You might have to use a bunch of them, but hey, you can take a bath with one of them and actually feel really clean at the end. You don't have to have a tub of water to sit and sink and feel like you got clean. You can do sponge baths. You can take a washcloth and put a little bit of water in a washcloth with hot, warm water. And trust me, after you wash and just keep rinsing out your washcloth and getting hot water again, you can go over your whole body and you'll feel very refreshed at the end. Trust me, don't feel bad about that. And you can do that kneeling in the middle of your van. That's what a lot of people do, is they'll get on their knees right there in the middle of the van and they'll give themselves a sponge bath. And you can do that fairly easy. You could do a sponge bath probably with maybe a quart of water. You take a quart of water, maybe even a half a quart, heat it up and get it to where it's your temperature that you like it, and you can actually give yourself a good bath with that. And yeah, you can do a good job. And then just take another clean cloth after you dry up. Take a clean cloth and add a little bit of water to that just to re-wipe yourself down. In between, use your baby wipes. All the cracks and crevices, wipe it up. Stinky parts, wipe it up. Keep it scrubbed. That's your biggest thing right there is, just your hygiene. You got to keep your cracks and crevices clean, so you don't start having problems, of infections and things like that. So keep that keep that in your mind. But let's see, what else can we think of? Doing your laundry. Make sure you use a laundromat. There's no need to pack a lot of clothes. Women are a little bit different, but for men, you just don't need it. It's not like you have hold a major wardrobe. Reduce your clothes down to a bare minimum. I'll tell you what I use. I use those Fruit of the Loom. Uses the Fruit of the Loom shirts with the little pocket on the side, t-shirts. I've got 12 of those. I've got 4 pairs of shorts, and I've got probably 2 dozen pairs of socks and 2 dozen sets of underwear. And that's basically my wardrobe. Oh, and I've got 3 of these little shirts. They're button-up, nicer, button-up dress shirts. But I fold and roll all my clothes, including these. And if I'm going to wear this one, I'll set it out, put it on a hanger, and let it hang somewhere, and let it the wrinkles fall out of it. And I can do that the day before, and it's usually fine when I go to put it on the next day. And I mean, if you want, I change my clothes every day. Yeah, a lot of van people say, yeah, you can wear the same clothes, 2 or 3 days. Yes, you can. But the way I look at it, you're already susceptible to, getting infections and sores because of the less cleanliness environment. But if you take good care of yourself and you change your clothes, you're going to be just as healthy as anything you could ever be. Even if you was in a house. So why not? It costs you a load to do a load of laundry. I can do every single stitch of my clothing in one load of laundry. And it takes $4 to run the washing machine usually, and like $1.25 to do the drying. And then I sit right there and I roll and fold and stuff all in my bag, carry it back out in the truck. I've got little plastic bins that slide up underneath my seat, my bed couch, that I keep my underwear and my socks in one, all my shirts and my shorts in the other ones. And I got, and then I just slide them underneath there and they stack on top of each other and I'm fine. I don't have a whole lot of clothes laying around. I don't. Your foods, use dry foods anytime you can. Find things that are freeze dried, dry goods. Learn how to cook with dry foods. Staples, I call it staples. Learn how to prepare food that's healthy and hearty for you by using staples. If you do that, then it's easy to store that stuff in bulk on your truck. So that way you can always make a meal. No matter what, you should be able to make a meal, no matter where you're at or how long you're out. You should carry enough, flour, rice, beans, or lentils. These are things that you can easily make, you know what I mean? And you should be able to survive fairly comfortably. Yeah, it might not be the best thing in the world, but it's food. It's something that will keep and sustain your life, And actually, you'll get used to it after you eat it for a while. Let's see what else. I use the rocket stove because I don't have to worry about fuel. If I'm inside the van or if it's rainy days, I use my little butane stove because I can pick those bottles up at Walmart. And it gives me another cooking source, but a lot of times I use my little stove that's on the hitch of my bumper. And I can cook right on top of that. I'm sure you guys have seen that. Unplug here. Come with me. Y'all don't get to see me walk around too much, do you? There's my air conditioner. That's my generator. And that is my rocket stove. Down the side. All the way down. There's a little breathing hole. There's a wood fire where you stuff the wood in there. And that's what I use. Behind here I have a piece of expanded metal that I use on top of there to be able to keep the flat surface, like if I want to grill a hamburger or a hot dog or something. I can just do it right on the fire. Sometimes I even like it with the steak. I'll put that. Mostly I cook the steak though. I cook it with the cast iron skillet. That's the way I like it the best. Let me plug in here. Batteries get